Lego.
Now we are. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of Brothers Y'all Good podcast. I'm here with my brother Jason. We got 2 special guests with us tonight, and I can't wait to get it in. But we start as we do every week by asking Jason, my brother, you good?
Man, I am good. Suffered a loss. Somebody real close to us in the nonprofit that I had passed away.
I saw that.
Week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a memorial service for him today, and just real reminiscent, man. I want to send a shout out real quick to Sister Diamond. When Diamond is dope, man. Just I didn't know that they were connected, and she just reminded me today how important it is, man, to center women's voices when we're going through things, man. So I just want to shout out Diamond for the clarity and for helping to cement, helping to be willing to help cement his memory going forward. So shout out to Michael Gray O'Brien, my guy, man, aka Gotti, journeyman electrician, a sound technician with the IBEW. He was a shining star, man, and he'll definitely be missed. And so shout out to my homework family for that, man. It's always tough. But I'm gonna be good, and that's what matters. So let me ask you, my brother, you good?
I'm good, man. I got to do a trial today in court. Got to deal with some stuff over the past week, getting reconnected with some folks that I'd lost a bit of contact with. And I lost contact with the brother that we were talking about just a couple weeks ago that was going through some stuff. He's still going in it. He's gone radio silent for a bit. I'm not sure exactly where he's at or what he's doing. Maybe he's tuned in tonight to listen in. And if so, my brother, you got my heart. We still care about you. We know we want you to be safe. We know that you're not going to hurt yourself or anybody else. So we know you're good, but I want you to know that we love and care for you. And we're here whenever you decide to plug back in. So if that's anybody else out there that feels that same way, know that you've got a network here of folks that care about you and just want the best for you. So otherwise, brother, I'm good. I'm really, really good. Got back from LA, met a dope brother who owns his own university, including a law school, a private law school up in LA, University of West Los Angeles, owned by a brother, Robert Brown, doing big things. Got to spend a couple hours in his office just being mentored and loved by somebody who's been through the grind. I'm sure at some point we're going to have him on the show so he can talk a little bit about his journey. But it's all been a blessing, man. Life has been good. Talked to my brother Zoe last night. We both had the same story about how God is moving in our lives and how amazing it is to share that story. So I'm excited for the brothers we have on tonight and let them tell their story, not just to San Diego, but to the rest of the world, because I know their stories are universal. They're bigger than just our city, but I want them to share it because they're from our spot. So I'll turn it back over to you, Jason. Let's know what the podcast is all about.
Well, man, as y'all know, Brothers Y'all Good is more than just a podcast. It's a real talk space where Black men can come through, open up, and talk about the things that matter. We want to be honest about things like mental health. This show dives deep into the stuff that matters: faith, fatherhood, fellowship, and all the ups and downs of navigating life as a Black man today. From dealing with stress, anxiety, and trauma to breaking through the stigma that's been holding us back, this podcast aims to keep it real with personal stories, expert advice, and practical tools to help you find peace and strength. This ain't just talk, though. It's about building each other up, sharing experiences, and creating a healthier, stronger community. So, hey, y'all, pull up, tune in, and let's have the conversations that heal. Together, we're breaking the silence, overcoming barriers, and helping every brother around the world to be able to say, yeah, brother, I'm good. So, man, I just want to say, man, welcome to these 2 men right here. So as y'all, man, look, so as y'all know, yeah, I mean, we talk about this all the time. We get our top 10, who we go. And these 2 brothers right here, man, and I'm going to let them both introduce themselves because who they are mean a lot to a lot of different people. You know what I mean? I just feel so fortunate to be able to be connected to these two men right here, just from being in the community. The transformation that I've seen is amazing. And I'm excited to hear their thoughts about mental health, excited to hear y'all's experiences and what life has been like for you since you decided to go the routes that you both have gone. And so without any further ado, why don't y'all introduce yourself? Go ahead, DeAndre. Why don't you tell the folks a little bit about yourself? And welcome to Y'all Good.
For sure. Well, thank you for having me. Definitely appreciate the opportunity to come on here and hold space like this and to be able to do it in a way that doesn't usually happen. So I appreciate you both, Jason and Mike, for even opening up this opportunity and this platform to every one of us in the community. My name is DeAndre Brooks. I'm a San Diego native, reformed gang member, father, business owner, community activist, you name it, a lot of different things. I wear a lot of different hats, but I love to be able to represent being able to transition and still having ties to our community. And I'll go on and pass it on to my brother Zoe real quick.
What's happening, Zoe? Welcome to Brothers Y'all Good.
Man, I really appreciate this space, brother Mike, brother Jason. You know, y'all real dear to me, great mentors in my life, man, especially in the position that I'm in now. I'm transitioning to the man that I long to be, that I strive to be. Southeast San Diego native, like my brother DeAndre said, and I love my city. I wear many hats too, man, but you know, I'm just a regular person, man, just like the rest of us, just regular. Just want to get on here and let everybody know that, you know, we all the same, right? We all strive to be excellent in our own ways, right? I'm a father as well, so I strive to be a good father. I'm a good mentor to my kids as well, man. So I think this space right here is something that's tangible. It's tangible and it's teachable. And I think those two things are very important, man, to a man's legacy. Something that can not only can he learn from, but something that he can hold on to. And I know I hold dear to you, brothers. So I really appreciate this space, man, and get it popping on here, man, and really just share some knowledge, gain some wisdom. Most of all, I just want to get on here and learn, man, and just soak it all up. You know, this is beautiful, so I appreciate it.
Man, right on, man. Well, first of all, why don't we just kind of, if you don't mind, just, and so since you was already on the mic, jump back on real quick and just kind of give a little rundown of how you got to this space. I mean, obviously we don't have time to say everything. Your life is way more simple than you know what I mean? I mean, it's way more complicated than what I'm asking, but if you can kind of give a synopsis of how you got here, because that's going to frame your perspective for the conversation. And I'm gonna ask you to do the same thing when we're done, Brother Brooks. So go ahead, Zoe, bring us up to speed. How did we get to 2025 with Alonzo?
Well, to be honest, man, God, man, that's ultimately, man, his grace. You know, and I didn't really realize that till I got to this point in my life, man, just kind of like reflecting on the things that I was doing and the things that I had been through, from trauma to self-inflicted wounds, right? Just saying that his mercy, man, it endures, man, because I'm that's where I'm at. You know, I'm in school right now. I'm at Berkeley. Went from the streets, man, and went to prison, and then straight from prison I went into school, and it was just he was creating pathways for me without me even realizing the paths that he was setting for me. I didn't have no vision towards it. You know, where I'm at, it wasn't a vision for me, but clearly it was a vision that he had for me, and I'm seeing that now. It's like clear as day. Yeah, so just, you know, going through troubled waters and then getting to where I'm at today, man. And it's a beautiful life on this side of the road, you know. Less stress. I mean, you know, we go through things, but it's not the things that I was going through then when I didn't have a vision. Right now that I got a vision, I can see how to go through things, how to cope with it. Right, I got a fellowship of brothers that I'm on a phone call with now, and I could call and reach out to. Brother Jason, you know, you've been super, man, important in my life, man, especially going through this journey, man. Brother DeAndre, man, just constantly watching you, man, and seeing, you know, you was the first of us all, man, to graduate, get your master's and do all that. And I know it was a time where I didn't even think it was possible to get to where I was at, man. So definitely shout out to you. You the first one. I mean, in my eyes, in the city, you know what I mean? You the first one with the master's, the first one to complete their journey. So it's beautiful to see where you at, you know, and it's just encouraging, it's inspiring. Like I said, something that's tangible. I like tangible things. I don't like I don't like lip service, right? I like somebody that I could call, somebody I could hug, somebody I could talk to, that could kind of give me some insights, right, on the things that I'm going through, man. So appreciate you, Brother Mike. The same as well, man. It's just the mentorships that you constantly give, and it's real, right? Like you giving us, just last night, you was giving me some real raw and uncut words, man, and that's what I needed to hear. None of this pacifying, baby, you can do it, or it is, you was just giving it to me raw and uncut. You either gonna do it or you're not. You gonna quit or you gonna keep going. So there was a thing. That's what helped you get here, right? Like that's what God does, right? You either you gonna choose me or you not, right? There's no in between. You gonna let me rock with you or you gonna rock without me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the beautiful part, man, of being a part of this, man. I just love how y'all rock with me, and I know when I go back to my neighborhood, a lot of the times, I was telling people, a lot of my partners up here at school, like, man, why you always go back home? It was times I was going back every weekend because it's so lonely, right? But to kind of get the support system that I got in the neighborhood is so beautiful, man. The people that are pushing me and telling me I can do it. And, you often think, it's one thing to know that you can do it, but it's another to feel that love and people actually telling you that. Because to me, those things are tangible. Like that's something that I can call and touch on and feel on and understand those words. Like, and that's what helped me get to where I'm at today, man. So yeah, it's just the constant love, man. The support and love is beautiful. And it's been beautiful since I've been on this journey, man, with everybody. Also cutting people off, man. It's been beautiful. It's been hard, but cutting people off on this journey. And I'm learning too that everybody can't, people say, oh, everybody can't go with you. That's a literal thing, and it was hard for me to do in a way because I felt like a little piece of me I was cutting off. But I learned though, you do need to cut a piece of you off, right? In order to get to where you're going to go, because the old me wasn't going to be able to get to where I'm at right now. So I had to cut my old self off, invite new people in that was going to help grow my new self, right? And get to where I'm at today, man. So it's just beautiful to see my old self being cut off and being the man that I strive to be. Because I still got a lot of learning, a lot of wisdom to do, but it's beautiful to see the growth, not just to know that I'm growing, but to actually see where I came from to today. It's like a reflection. I look in the mirror and just like, I just thank God that that's where I'm at.
So you keep saying where I'm at. So we know maybe where you at in life, but where you really at right now? Where I'm saying where are you at today?
I'm in school, man. I'm on my way out. I'm on my way possibly law school or something. I don't know. Well, I ain't gonna say possibly. I gotta speak that to existence. You right?
Wait, what? Did we talk last night?
We had a conversation.
Did we talk last night?
We had a conversation. Yeah. I'm gonna follow my journey, man, and not run from it. I was on a marathon and I was getting tired of this marathon, man, and it almost feel like it's a trick. That I know where I'm at, almost being content and comfortable where I'm at, but then also not finishing my race, right? So I was kind of like through the half mark by graduating. I'm at Berkeley. I'll be graduating in May.
Hold on. Just let's say that again, because you just like, you know what I mean? No, say that. And where are you in school at?
I'm at Berkeley. My last
year. Yeah.
But it's not. It don't end there, right? Like the marathon continues, and I again, it's just something that, again, this is why it's beautiful to have fellowships, right? Because I'm to a point where I'm 37, 38 years old. I got 3 kids, and my journey has been kind of tiring as well. It's been fulfilling, but it's been tiring. There's other things that I feel like I need to give my energy to, but also, right, that's also me not finishing my race. And what's the point of getting into a race and not finishing? Brother Mike had given a scenario yesterday, man, about being in a marathon. And, you got all these experts, you got all these people that do it, that are healthy and run track, right? And just do all these things that run these marathons, right? You got some people quitting, you got some people finishing, but he entered to race. And because once he entered it, he kept going. No matter what place he was in, it didn't matter, right? He said something to me the other day that was cold. He said, nobody goes to law school to be a law student. And that right there was just like, boom, right? Like, you're going there to do a job, right? You're going there to complete a mission. Stop thinking about what's hard and what kind of student you're going to be. Like, nobody cares about what kind of law student you're going to be, right? Like, who are you going to be when you overcome that, though? Like, what kind of man are you going to be then? And I have to look from the inside out and not the outside in. You know what I'm saying? I always look at myself from the outside in, like, kind of, am I smart enough? I'm kind of comparing myself to other people, and I'm doing all these things instead of looking from the inside out, man, and really just trusting God. Because that's what I've been running from. I've been hearing different people giving me my mission, but God been telling me what I'm supposed to do, and I've been running from it. But then, you can't run from it. He gonna confirm. He gonna confirm in so many different ways. And I'm just glad that people been kind of helping me confirm his words, man. And it's been beautiful. So I'm making that decision to go ahead and do the law school thing, man.
I love it. Well, we gonna dig more into that. Some other there's some other things on this journey that we're gonna definitely talk about. DeAndre, man, why don't you kind of give us how did DeAndre get from where he was to where he's at today? I can't call you Master Andre because you know what I'm saying. We just hey, I'll call you Dr. Dre. I ain't gonna call you Master Dre. My lips just can't say it, but you do have a master's degree, man. Man, how did we get here, man? How did we get here?
Man, it's definitely been a long journey, man. And like Alonzo said, God, to put it in one breath real quick before I break it all the way down, definitely God. I mean, growing up, I grew up in a single parent household. I was separated from all my brothers and sisters when I was younger. Group homes, foster homes, started delving deep off into the gang lifestyle because everybody that I connected with came from like broken homes. So now we are trying to heal from that, but we're committing different traumas and then just all kind of crazy stuff, right? So from there, I ended up taking a prison sentence for 10 years for something I didn't do and wasn't there because I didn't want to tell on what was going on, and I stayed committed to that lifestyle, right? And I ended up doing 10 years in prison. While I was in there, seen a lot of stuff, done a lot of stuff, and then realized I gave all I could give with one life to live, basically, right? And a lot of stuff isn't necessarily what it's put out there to be. So once I seen that, I decided to want to do something for myself. I came home, started going to school, enrolled in community college, transferred over to San Diego State, got my bachelor's and my master's degree. Criminal justice was my bachelor's degree because I wanted to understand like how our communities or police, how does the system work, where I fit in with that type of thing, individually and as a collective, right, with the community. Then I decided to get my master's degree in public administration, which is the study of local and state governments, because I'm into politics and how that sort of thing works and how buttons are pushed and how things work, right? Just trying to figure out where I fit in and where we fit in as a collective. So like during that process, just navigating everything. I mean, leaving at 17 years old, coming home at 27, I started late when it comes to everything, like relationships, jobs, all that sort of stuff, right? And just being in spaces, being alone, going through community college, like Zoe said, I was definitely one of the first before everybody started going. I used to be in classrooms and be the only Black person in the class of 40 and 50 students at City College, San Diego State, feeling like nobody can connect or relate to me and stuff, right? Not being able to speak to people thinking that they're not going to get it, or when you're dealing with biases and racism and that sort of thing, it's like, you to be seen and not heard type of deal. So battling, having or creating my own space in those spaces and stuff, that's been a lot, just stigmas, being attacked, that sort of thing. But I'll say I was talking to Zoe about it maybe like a couple of weeks ago. One of the hardest things that I had to do coming home was really like disconnecting from the mentality and the lifestyle of the gang world. That was the hardest thing. That's all I knew. And then on the flip side, it's like, okay, we're supposed to be anti, the system and anti this and anti that. So I turned down so many opportunities, so many different things that I was doing in the community because I always cared and worried about like, what is this going to look like? What are my old friends going to think? What is the community going to think? So trying to keep that balance, it just wasn't working. And it took years before I finally like had the courage to step out from amongst the crowd and just say, this is the direction I'm headed in. God knows my heart, right? And I'm South they come. So that kind of leads up to being here, working on a nonprofit organization that I just started. It's called Freedom to Succeed. We're in the grant writing stage right now and stuff. Have a great team. Shout out my partner and co-founder, Patricia Franklin. We've been going into juvenile hall for the last couple of years doing restorative justice circles. And I was able to connect with somebody and put something like that together, basically professionalizing the lived experiences of justice impacted people, formerly incarcerated people, getting them opportunities to go into classrooms and different spaces and work with youth who may be going through some of the things that they went through. But that's a little bit in a nutshell right there and stuff. I'll kick it back on to Jason and Mike real quick.
Yeah, let me follow up with that, DeAndre, because I want to talk a little bit, about what your mindset, what your mental was like when you first got locked up, right? For something that you didn't do, but we know the culture, right? I'm not going to dime everybody else out, right? I'm going to do and take this. So what was your mindset when you first went into prison? And then talk about how it got you prepared. So when you got out at 27, you were able to do the things that you've accomplished. Because having worked in the system, everybody has an idea that anybody getting that much time, not going to be good for anything else when they get cut out. Because that's too much time when you're too young, right? At you 27 and you spent 10 of those 27 years locked behind bars. So how did you manage to go from that mindset of I'm loyal to the streets and I'm down with that lifestyle and culture to when I get out, I'm going to get myself on a path that takes me away from the stuff that led to me getting in this spot?
Yeah, man. It was a lot, right? Going in at first, going in and out of foster care and juvenile hall and being in the system and kind of primed me for it. So I didn't really feel things at first when I went in there. I wasn't able to feel anything because I was in and out of juvenile halls and that sort of thing, right? So I got there and then it really got real. I think I got sentenced to Hatchapee, to a level 4 maximum security prison in the mountains in the snow for the first time ever in my life, and saw the barbed wire and was like, this is real. This is what they really got in store for me, right? So I went through that process, and as I was in there, I got to be around a gang of lifers and individuals who never getting the opportunity to come home. Some of the smartest people I ever met in my life up in there without an opportunity. So watching them, seeing that, watching people catch third strikes in there. I almost caught a third strike 2 or 3 times in there, just sticking to the script, and you have to do what you have to do. And so knowing that feeling where you're in a situation and you put everything on the line, that was a lot for me. And then I ran into one of my buddies. I met him in there. He had been in prison since 1987, and I was on a level 4 yard with him after I got out of the security housing unit. And I just saw the look in his eyes. He was like, brother, you from where I'm from. I come across a lot of different individuals up in here, but they don't necessarily push like you push. And I could connect with you and I see where you're from. And he was like, I called home and I heard you in here for something that you didn't do. I got something for you. And he slid me a bunch of paperwork under my door with a lot of guys that I looked up to, a lot of guys that I thought, I was putting this on the line for and doing it due for the cost, and they were on paperwork as informants and telling and cooperating with the law. So I'm like, here it is. I've spent 6 or 7 years of my life. I missed prom. I missed everything, college and all of that. And it's fake. You know what I mean? I do have individuals who never crossed those lines and, have stuck to that script all the way around, and I love and respect them. But it's a lot of individuals that didn't. So then I started thinking hey, I got 2 strikes for this case. I'm in here for something I didn't do. I've almost struck out 2 times up in here. And these reputable guys I looked up to and did it for, here they are on this black and white. So I have made it up in my mind then and there that when I got out, I've given all I could give with one life to live. And, I wanted to make that change. So it started there, and it started from an individual showing me and just seeing who I was and feeling my energy, and was just like, you don't want to give the rest of your life to this and stuff. So that was the main thing that got my mind to thinking in a different direction.
Ooh,
man.
Wow. That's a lot of stuff in there, right?
Right.
That's a lot of stuff.
And I want to touch on your story in that way too, Zoe, but just real quick, DeAndre, that type of, what was going through your mind when facing deception, betrayal, you know what I'm saying? That's like, you know what I mean? It's like David in Psalm said, man, I could see if it was like my enemy that did it to me, that would make sense. this is, you know, David said, man, this is somebody that I go to temple with all the time. Like, you did this? Like, that's what makes it hurt so much, right? The scripture says that a brother offended is harder to win than a city with walls around it. When you got that news, take us to that moment, man, where you like, you're face to face with this garbage. Like, how did you not just, because to me, I'm like, man, it's going down, bro. I'm about to set it off. But take us to that moment real quick and just talk about what that was like. That's crazy.
Well, it's another layer to that. Right before I got that paperwork, like as I said, I had just got out of the SHU, and I was at a maximum security prison with like all lifers, and the tensions were high with like the guards and everything. And if you were black, if someone got into it with one of the guards, you had to do something no matter what, or you would get stabbed, hurt, and all that sort of stuff. So I was on the phone trying to call home to my family, and a guy that had life got into it with two of the officers right in front of me. So they had this spat, and I'm sitting there, and my whole heart just dropped like, oh, if something happens, I got to go. And I'm always playing with 2 strikes at that time. I'm like, I'll never be able to go home. So I'm sitting there just like praying, like, man, I hope you don't do nothing. I hope you don't do nothing, because then I have to go. And he didn't. It was just a spat. And then he ended up walking away. And then a couple of minutes later, that's when I went to my buddy's cell. He gave me that paperwork and had that conversation. So I was just, whoa. I ended up sitting inside the cell. I didn't want to come out for a couple of days at a time, just trying to regroup and process the predicament and the situation that I was in and will continue to be in. And it was all for this, right? And I'm looking at guys that I just held in such a high regard. And I was speechless. I was sick, Jason. I don't even really have the words for it all the way around. But that's when I knew that it was time to make that transition.
Man, can you imagine, just real quick, Mike, just can you imagine like if something would have jumped off and you would have kicked the ball off and got struck out, and then you would have found, I mean, just, man, thank God, dude. I just want to stop. You know, in church, you got to stop and just take a praise break. Like, no, for real, man. That's the epitome of don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle happens. Not like you, but like, man, I wish we had more. I wish we had 3 hours because we could do a whole bunch of this. But go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry, man. I can't believe it. I want to get on. I want to log off and go for a jog.
Right. Well, and you know, for me working in the system to understand a lot of what DeAndre's saying that might be going past some people, right? And so I'm going to ask him to explain some of the stuff that he's talking about, because some folks are going to be like, I lost him, right? I missed part of what he's talking about. But my first question was, how much time did you have left to do, DeAndre, when you got this paperwork?
That was, let's see, 2013. I was there. Then I had maybe like about 5 more years to go. I was halfway through my sentence.
And that's kind of what I thought. I didn't think that you were 9.5 years in and only got 6 months to get out of here. Because what people don't understand is, just like there's a culture in communities, there's a culture in the street, there's a separate and distinct prison culture that has expectations for you when you get there, and they demand adherence, they demand deflection to those principles at penalty of potentially death. I mean, they don't joke about this stuff. You're either going to be down in the prison because they know you can't go home, right? You there for as long as you're there, and the guards are part of it. The other inmates are part of it. But you mentioned to be in this special housing unit, what the rest of us call the SHU, right? Explain a little bit about what it took for you to get in the SHU and what it took for you to get out.
I was just young and active on the prison yard, and they sent me to a prison where it was like 2,000 people on the yard, and it wasn't really controlled to where they would let one tier out at a time. You would have like 5 buildings out on the yard, plus all these people in 3-man bunks on the gym, and it was gangbang central, basically. A lot of youngsters. We were in Central California, so I was just fighting and riots and all of that sort of stuff, and my points got shot up, and you're going to go to the hole, to the SHU, and then you're going to get kicked out to a level 4 prison where you're involved in a lot of different situations. So when I first went in, all I knew was gangs in the streets and that indoctrination. So I was like taking part in all of that stuff right there.
All right.
So that's how you got in. How'd you get out of the shoe? And then we're gonna get to you, Zoe. Yeah, man.
100. Well, after my time was up, they sent me to that prison, New Corcoran. They just kicked me out of the shoe, and they put you on a level 4 and give you an opportunity to work your points back down and program or whatnot, so I can go back to like a level 3, which is, you know, just a tier below that. But yeah, once I got the opportunity, got out, I had that individual there that gave me that paperwork and was just like, hey, you know, I'm trying to look out for you. And I also have one other individual. I got a shout out, my homeboy Donnell Campbell. I met him, had one of the similar situations when I was in another prison after I came down with that. And he was just like, I don't care what's going on. We're going to make sure that you get home. So he kept me out of harm's way plenty of times. And full circle, I ended up being able to write a letter for him to get paroled and come home. And when he went to court with the judge said, whoever that young man is that wrote you that letter, that's doing great. That's the reason why you're right here in my face. And he did about 25 or 30 years, and he's been out doing great for the last 3. So there are some folks that I've come across up in there that was solid and that along my way. But a lot of that all played a part in me wanting to make that transition.
Man, ooh, Zoe, man, that's so good, man. For the sake of time, man, I'm telling you, I want to stay on that. Alonzo, you ended up going to the pen too. What was your experience like in prison? And you know what I mean, like talk to us about.
I kind of got like not all the extremes, but man, I was blessed to get a little bit of all of that too, man. My initiation was. First time in prison, man. I was gangbanging Central too myself, just thinking that I that's what we had to do. Cold part is I had so many people in there that knew me, so it was cool, right? Because I had so many people that knew me, so the anxiety was down just a little bit lower. But man, same with me, man. I ain't gonna lie. One of my partners sent me some paperwork on one of my boys, man. And I was in tears though. You know what I mean? Just because. It hurt, you know what I mean? I didn't think that something like that would hurt, you know what I mean? But this is a person that's invited in my house, man. This is a person that's slept at my crib, right? And like, I was in the streets with this person, so to see that, man, and you hear about this type of stuff, but to actually see that, it's different when it's one of your boys, you know what I mean? So that just blew my mind, but I also fast forward and I see that as a blessing, right? Because I think God wanted it, because I was a dad at this time too, but I was giving my life to this, you know what I mean? Which sounds crazy, right? But that's just what it was, right? I was giving my life to this, man, and so dedicated to it to never think that this would happen to me. Like, man, my boys are solid. I know it goes on, but my boys are solid. But to end up going through that, man, was crazy, man, to see that this is really happens. And also, man, when I seen the Bloods and Crips, all my tattoos came from Crips. Every tattoo on my body came from Crips. When I first hit the yard, the Bloods wouldn't even give me nothing until the paperwork come through. This is crazy. So the paperwork come through to make sure you're good and all this. Man, it's OG Crip. I never gonna. His name was Big Don. He was from LA, man. And I was on reception, so I still had the red suit on. I was in Ironwood, and he was. I don't know how he knew about me. Like, man, I heard about you. Heard you a solid dude. I don't know how he knew. He was like, look, man, whatever you need, I got you. He slipped me a phone. Slid me some stuff, and I was kind of skeptical though, like, hold on, what's going on? Like, Ray, you over here sliding me stuff? I don't even know you like that. You know what I mean? He was like, you just pay me when you done. But I heard you was a good dude from the streets, man. You shouldn't even be here. He like talking to me through the door. I don't know this dude from a county. Somehow somebody sent him a kite and told him about me. Man, when I say he looked out for me, and then from that point on, man, that imaginary line, this blood and Crip thing, really, I saw black. I was just fortunate enough to be on a yard where it wasn't too much like gang banging a little bit, you know what I mean? But it was a black thing. And when I say I was working out with the Crip, it was a thing. And I always had my own, like, I don't know, I'm not bigger than nothing, but I always had my own, still on my own feet too. So like all the Crips worked out. It was Dago. I was working out with the Dago Crips. And I knew some of them from the streets. Some of them I didn't get along with when I was younger. But all that dissipated, right? Like we always had something in common. We all wanted to come home. We were just talking about family, just how we could be better. And once I see that we could do that, like, hold on, you mean to tell me we could work out and I could go in the cell with him and he could do my tattoos and we could talk and we could just do all of these things. That right there let me know how fake the stuff that we was doing on the streets was. I mean, I'm talking about you got people with CK, BK, every kind of K on their body that is the best friends of the world. I mean, I learned that I was on the top tier. So the man next to you, besides your bunkie though, the people on the cells that's next to you is going to have your back. When y'all walking the child, when y'all on the yard, when y'all at the table, ain't no blood, crip, this, that. It's a black thing. So I held on to that. That like felt good for me because I was able to rely on the person next to me, right? And not have to look at a color. I seen the OG daughter that did my tattoos, and he was a real G. You know what I mean? He had life, but everybody respected him. He always like anything I needed. You know what I mean? Even if he didn't want to go to chow, and I wanted to go to chow, he was walking with me. Are you going to chow? I ain't eating it, but if you going, I'm going. Like just that type of camaraderie, right? Like, but that right there, it was a blessing to see because not like I was like that on the streets all like that, but I was caught up in that indoctrination that we're not supposed to like the other color. We're not supposed to like this other person simply because they grew up the same way, but grew up on the other side of the tracks. And I don't know nothing about their lifestyle. In prison, taught me none of that matters. Like none of that matters. And I was blessed to be able to have that in my life because when I came home, even while that was not like left me while I was in there. I was just like, oh heck no. Because if you think that I'm gonna act different, I ain't never gonna forget. I was on the yard and this dude named Bug changed my life, kind of like what you, DeAndre, I'm talking about. He just told me that he was just like, man, put your chest in just a little bit. Like you walking around here, you looking like you want some problems, right? And I'm little, man. I'm 150 pounds soaking wet. I'm out there trying to like, man, I don't want nobody trying to pick on me. And he told me like, where you from? I'm from 5'9" Brim, San Diego, woo woo, right? And he like, you gangbanging? I'm like, yeah. He like, well, it's Crips on the yard, mate. Go get him, right? I'm like, what? He like, you gangbanging? It's all kind of Crips on the yard. I'm like, he said, you ain't gangbanging. If you was gangbanging, you wouldn't be on this yard. Real gang members is finna get active. He's like, man, it's a black thing on here. All this gangbanging stuff. Now, like I said, things happen. But true, I don't know. I guess the yards that I've been on, real brothers that's been down for a while, kind of know how to like dismantle that what these little young dudes kind of bring to the yard. I was just blessed to have that. To a bunch of young stuff, we really didn't have no voice in that manner. Because they understood that the violence that y'all came from on the streets is gone. Now, if you got an issue with this person and we could get a one-on-one, because I've seen that too, that's fine. But this imaginary line that we had, man, that was all fake. It was fake. And I love that I was able to see that at that time. Because when I came home, I could preach it. I could see it. I could see DeAndre and hug him and like none of that matters because the place, when you gangbanging, they got a place for you. But all that gangbanging that you're doing out here, you're not going to be able to do when you get there. I don't care what kind of killer you call yourself. There's all kind of killers where that's up in there. And they're going to show you, they're going to put you in your place. So it's fake. I don't care what nobody said. Gangbanging is fake. And the true colors of gangbanging showed me that when I was in prison. Just even, like I said, the paperwork, even seeing the paperwork, that right there just kind of like broke my heart. Like, I'm like, no, I know how to stay away from it. Ain't nobody coming to my house no more. Like, that's over. I'm thinking that everything is good. That's over. So I know how to align myself to where I'm supposed to align myself and not put my all into something that's fake anyway. It was fake to begin with, man. And shame on the big homies that went from the streets to the prison and came home and still pushing that. Like you're not even like built like that. You can't be built like that and you go to prison. There ain't no real gang members in prison. I don't care what nobody say. Unless you're just on a segregated yard where they got Bloods over here, Crips over here, and they can't talk, then maybe. But that's not true in California. There ain't no gang banging in California. You might be from somewhere, but you're not gang banging. I don't care what nobody say. You're not gang banging. You believing in that man next to you because if something happened, you're going to hope he save your life. Like, I'm glad it didn't go down with DeAndre, but he on the phone, the person that's arguing with the police is expecting DeAndre to help out just in case he get whooped on. Yep. Now, if I gotta go home and act different, if I can't see DeAndre as my brother, like I seen him in prison, there's something internally wrong with me. I'm fake and something is wrong with me. Because if you're not acting like that in prison, don't act like that when you get to the streets. And that's just my word. You don't go to prison acting tough. I mean, don't come home acting tough when you're not really like that in prison. and DeAndre did 10 years. I only did 3. So I could imagine what he saw and the camaraderies he had. He probably could care less as he grew, because you're gonna grow when you get older in there. Like, I don't care where a person from. You want more black, you want as many brothers around you as possible on some of these yards. Because you outnumbered on some of them yards. You know what I'm saying? So
man.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's the firewood that you guys get to share. And that's why I was so excited about having you guys on, because you get to bring a perspective. Because, again, having worked in the system, most folks want to believe that once y'all go to in, you're not going to come out and do a damn thing. And so I want to talk a little bit more about the steps that you guys have taken getting out. And I want to go back to you, DeAndre. You got your, went
Don't
to
be humble.
community college.
He humble right now, man. This dude is a real killer out here in Southeast.
I know, and that's what I'm trying to get you guys to tell your stories, right?
Yeah, bro, tell us all, man.
So, DeAndre, you get your bachelor's degree and you don't stop there. What pushes you to decide to go on and get a master's degree and then go ahead and do all the stuff you've done as a businessman and then the nonprofit? I mean, it just goes on. And I know your journey's not done, but help people understand what it is that drove you to get to where you're at today.
Just man, coming across people and being able to connect with the God in them, to be honest with you. When I first came home, I had my first job at an organization called Center for Employment Opportunities. They would have folks on the side of the highway, picking up some of the trash on the highway. And we have a homeless problem. We would break down the homeless encampments. And so I was working there. Everybody there is formerly incarcerated on parole or probation. And we would have like a job coach, and we would do mock interviews and have to fill out job applications. And so they would just like pay us weekly to keep something in our pocket, and then we would be working on finding a job. But I had a guy there that was a case manager or a job coach. And he was just like, man, I see you have some units, 36 units that you have from prison when you were in there. I don't want to just put you in any kind of job right now. I think you should go to school, just go ahead and finish this. And I was like, well, I'm scared. I don't know how to do the financial aid. I don't know how to use a computer like that, right? I'm like, I know how to read and write and process and have conversations and stuff, but we didn't have technology in there. So I didn't want to go up against any of that. And he was like, I got you. Called someone at City College, connected me to him, and they walked me through the whole process. So I've always had people guiding me and helping me the whole time, and being able to have spaces to speak about those types of things. So, but once I got in there and I started saying like, hey, wait a minute, I could do it, I was like, I owe it to myself, my family, and my community to go as far as I possibly can with it. And so when I started processing the criminal justice system, when I started processing public administration, how things work, I was like, fuck, I actually get this. I actually get it, and I understand, and I can keep up. And then I'm not seeing many people that have the experiences that me and Alonzo have in those spaces. And then once I got in those spaces, I could feel how much of a threat I was, because the first thing that people do when they feel like someone is a threat, they start trying to make you feel like you're not as smart as you think you are, or you don't know what's going on, or why did you even talk inside of this meeting? And I would have people ganging up on me in meetings, and I'm the only person in there, and I have to battle through all of that. Now we have so many different people in the community activist movement and doing different things, where you could go in spaces and see people who look like you, have the same agenda as you, and they're going to back your play if you get in those situations. But I remember being tore apart, not wanting to talk, sitting back for like an hour, and like, whoa, like what's going on? Like, do I even belong? Did I say that right? But just going through those spaces and then having people speak up, people continue to support, that just made me want to do as much as I can. And I like to be able to have like conversations like this, like to be able to have folks like Alonzo in here with me, to where we have like both of those processes. And then to be able to connect with you and Jason here, like, okay, captain of the fire department, you're a judge and everything, and you guys look like us, and we could connect. Now we could bridge that gap. So that just makes me want to continue to go as far as I can. And I want to go down as a great, man. Not even gonna lie to you. I'm trying to do it.
Well, and I love that line. I want to go down as a great, right? Tell the audience a little bit more about that mindset.
it's a lot of us go through a lot of different things. You know, we live and we learn and we go through motions, and then we don't necessarily get to certain spaces, or we don't see as many people as we think we should in those spaces. So it's like I just feel like I owe it to myself. If I have the potential to do anything and understand it and reflect and represent us, you have to do that. And when people see people that look like them, people that they can connect with, people that they just feel like, hey, that's me, it makes them feel like that they can do it too. I know, like when I see folks in spaces, it's like, hey, okay, you here, wait a minute, you have this background, or you talk like this, or you know how to code switch like this, or you understand what they're saying and stuff. Like, I'm just stuff that would be basic to me in terms of like politics and criminal justice. Like, someone can explain that to some of my family members or friends and they wouldn't get it, then I'll turn around and say the same thing, and they're like, damn, bro, I got that, you made it sound so easy. So just being able to bridge that gap and give people that confidence to be in different spaces, that's everything. And then I have a son, and when I was younger, I grew up, like I said, single mom. My father, he's solid, you know, he did all he could in my life, but he was going through his own motions and processes and stuff, so he wasn't there as much as he wanted to, and he was in the system. So, you know, I just want to be a father, have a legacy, leave that for my son, and move forward. And definitely still a work in progress. You know, like I was talking to Alonzo before we started, I'm like, I missed everything in 10 years, so I'm having experiences that everybody else got 15 and 20 years ago, and still navigating, learning, and growing at the same time. So by far, not a finished product, but you know, definitely moving in the right direction.
Amen.
Man, you know, let me just say this real quick, Mike. You know what I'm saying? DeAndre is playing with the audience. He's playing right now. He's trying to not. Yeah. And it's good though. And it's good though, because you know it's biblical to not pat yourself on the back, right?
Right.
So I just want to say, and we've had multiple conversations. We've talked about, and I want to get into some of that too, because we've talked about what we want to get into is how y'all separated when you got out here. Because it's one thing to be, have all this rah, then you come out here and then, you know what I mean? And so I want to talk about that, but I want to say publicly how amazing you are, DeAndre, and the amazing work that you are doing as a trailblazer out here in these streets. To see you graduating from college, from San Diego State, #GoAztecs, to see you with your regalia on, to see you when you got your master's degree, those things are absolutely huge. And the idea of these spaces is to have conversations so that brothers can know that, yes, this is for you. You do not have to go to prison and come home and continue that. It is okay to recognize it as a lie and do something different. And so it's important to showcase you. And I don't want you to brag. Obviously, we're just playing. But you are doing an amazing job, man. And I am just so proud just to know you, man. And to be able to see I'm in the bleachers looking down and just going, wow, man. So I just want to say, man, shout out to you, man, for what you're doing. But don't let me stop and not act like you, Alonzo, like you ain't doing nothing while you over here like, yeah. DeAndre, would you tell the people, tell them to stop playing?
Alonzo, man, my partner since day one. When we first met and connected with him, just seeing we were both making a transition, and just seeing him be his authentic self. I love Alonzo. I'm like, man, he said what? He did what? Okay, and you going to school and you doing this? Like, I love being able to be around that type of energy and stuff because it's authentic and it's real, man. And when you got there talking about you might be a lawyer, I'm like, hold on, last time I checked, that's what we was doing around here. I'm like, man, and I'm talking about from a couple of years back. I'm like, okay, I got my brother over here. We on the same type of time. We're on the same page. He's doing this. And, you know, definitely keep moving forward and doing what you do. And I think to Jason's point, man, like part of the conversation that we had the other day where you hit me and you was just like, bro, I needed that, you know, and it was everything to me because it was full circle. I have been going through that, and I had to learn that on my own, and I didn't have anybody I could call or I could hit. You know, I'll tap into it a little bit, and I'll let Alonzo, you know, say the rest with it.
Yeah,
but
tap into that, bro. I think the world goes through that, bro. Nobody has an outlet, bro. Use my outlet, bro.
100%.
On that.
Yeah, so I was scared to break away. I was scared to come from amongst the crowd because I always wanted to stay. I wanted to keep my ties and my connections all the way around. And everybody can go. And even going through that process and having a struggle with trying to break away for 5 or 6 years, where people are straddling the fence and they like, oh, it's gangs, he's doing this and that. Being able to find that space, and then when I actually did it and I disconnected, everybody that I really looked up to and still do, they're still with me. So it really wasn't even anything. It was just really a fear that I had put in my mind of worrying about the individuals who weren't ready to go and make that next step, right? So I battled like the gang stuff for years. And then finally, like something happened. One of my buddies, one of my close buddies from when I was younger, got killed. And he was a real good dude and basically a senseless murder. And I finally told myself, like, I'm over here battling and struggling, going back and forth with straddling the fence. And the same individuals that I'm not letting my life move forward for just killed this person. You know what I mean? And this is energy and this is the reality that we're faced with. So at that point, I was just like, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care who says what and thinks what. I'm about to do me. I know where I'm from in my heart, and that's how I'm gonna move forward. And me and Alonzo was able to have a conversation and stuff because he's like, bro, hey, what's going on? And just the fact that, I could put that in words and I have been through it, it helped him in his process. And he was just like, bro, I needed that. So I started understanding how important it is to be able to have conversations and have these type of spaces. But I'll let Alonzo touch base on that a little bit more.
Alonzo,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, you real quick. Sorry, Mike, just because you talked about being in prison and having this mindset and then coming out to the street, but you didn't just like, all right, I'm done or whatever. Like, talk about getting out and then getting to where you are today. Talk about what that was like up to that conversation, Alonzo, up to that conversation that you had with DeAndre. Talk about what that was like.
Oh man, that
No.
real.
Just for Alonzo. For Alonzo. Yeah, talk about that, Alonzo, how you.
I mean, I feel like I'm saying with DeAndre, it was a hard transition, right? Because like it's crazy. In prison, they called me the homie lover, right? Because you could come to my cell and what I mean. I just got love for the homies, man. Like what I mean. Like if you a brother and I got love. If I would have saw DeAndre in there, it would have been whatever you need, bro. Like because I was just fortunate enough. You know what I mean? I was able to always have. So anytime anybody needed, I was always there to give myself to him, right? Even when it stressed me out, right? Even when it was like overwhelming, I was still the type of person that would provide. And I think that's why I have so much love on the streets from a lot of the people that I was surrounding myself with, because I'm giving up my home, right? You can come to my house and spend a night. You can hide up under my bed, right? You could come over here and just whatever, And my transition getting out was the same almost, right? But I wanted to be available. I think I wanted to be, but on top of that availability, I wanted to keep that same attitude, right? Not necessarily negative, but I wanted to be the brimhound that everybody knew who he was when he left too. I wanted to keep that, you know what I mean? Because that love, honestly, I got that. I was getting that type of love, but not really understand that there was negative energy behind that love too, though. I always tried to block out the negative energy. And Jason know where I'm going with this because Jason always talked me off. Jason would challenge me off the ledge and not talk me off the ledge because at the end of the day, it's ultimately if another person wants to commit suicide, they're gonna do it or they don't, right? And I'm using that analogy because Jason is not physically me, so the only thing he can do is challenge my thoughts, not question my thoughts. Jason never said you was wrong for your thoughts, right? Like I can't tell DeAndre he wrong for feeling how he feeling when he come home. We don't know what DeAndre was going through, right? In there or when he came home, just anything. So that's how I felt what Jason was doing to me was kind of like challenging me. And Jason was trying to get me out of that mind frame that I needed to be around, right? And it was for years, man. I was hanging out and I changed my name from Brimhound to Berkeley Brim, right? Just still kind of like, I'm at school, I'm showing the homies you could do something different. They believing in me though, you know what I mean? But I'm still brimming it though. And I'm hanging out and I'm doing certain things. But people are dying, but I'm trying to block that out, right? Like, and it was a fear of not necessarily nobody, because I never really cared about people talking about me. It was more so of I felt like I wasn't authentic. I felt like I wouldn't have been authentic if I stopped hanging out. I wouldn't have been authentic if I stopped doing certain things, even though it wasn't conducive to the way I was living and my learning. I still felt like I could do both. I was straddling the fence. Man, I'm telling you, and though a lot of them what stopped me literally from thinking like that, even though Jason did a lot, when DeAndre spoke his message that day, man, I was in tears, bro. You don't even know I was on the other side with tears in my eyes, bro. Because you confirmed, again, it'd be God, bro. It'd be God. Because my dad would even say, you better stop. Some of your homies don't care about none of that. You know, you hear your parents, say all this. I'm hanging out. But again, he's not taking me off the ledge, right? Pops wouldn't even necessarily even challenge me, right? Jason would challenge me, but DeAndre, I'm telling you, bro, when you said that story and then you just kicked it cold turkey. Like, because, we talked about other little stories, too, that we was, you was in, and it was like, I'm still Masters DeAndre, and to me, that's okay, right? And that's how I was living. But when you reformed your mind and you just turned away from it from that incident, and, bro, this is God, bro. If that incident wouldn't have happened, I guarantee you would have never had that mind frame. I can just almost bet that. And then your story to me, I would have never been able to relate to that, right? Like, I would have never heard that, and I probably would have went straight into whatever situations. But when you said that, bro, I'm telling you, I called you immediately. Like, I was literally in tears, bro. I broke down when you told me that because that's what I needed to hear. And then from that point, my mind is totally reformed. And then also because of how you was able to do it. Like, you was just like, bro, I'm done with that. Like, that was it. That's all I needed to. I did it. And and that just let me know if you can do it, then I need to stop giving myself excuses on why I ain't did it yet. Because I was giving myself excuses. I got Jason in my head doing great work, really pushing me back off the ledge. I'm still looking over, but I'm still on the ledge, right? Because I feel like I'm always the person that feel like I can do both. And I was always in the streets doing both, right? Like, because I can. But I understood that there's no both in dying, right? And also, I don't necessarily got to be the target, right? But when you put yourself in certain environments, you're subjected and obligated to that environment. And I'm telling you, Jay, when you said that story, bro, it was God sent. I needed that at that moment, though, because I didn't hear nobody really put it in that perspective. But to know where you came from, to know what type of person, the credibility you got, and to say, I'm not doing that no more. And you're way more G'er than me. I know that for a fact. So for you to say that, bro, I'm like, man, DeAndre ain't gonna do it. I'm definitely finna do it. That's over for me. You ain't gonna hear about the Berkeley bro. You ain't gonna hear about that no more. You're not gonna hear about me just hanging out to be hanging out. If I'm not preaching to you or trying to get you into school, I'm not doing none of that. And it made sense though. You made that as tragic as that was, right? And God, He works in mysterious ways. As tragic as that was, look where it put your mind at, and look what you did for somebody else, right? So now I'm able to steal your story, talk about you, right? Highlight what you went through, how it changed my life, and I'm gonna be able to do that same thing for the person behind me or who needed to hear the same thing. So I really appreciate you, bro, for being vulnerable and talking about that, bro, because that, when I say changed my life, bro, it did. Like, I don't care no more. I cared a lot.
Hey, Zoe, you don't even know I needed the space just to be able to say that. That's something that I had always thought, and I did alone. But the individuals that I have been around, I wasn't able to be able to like put that into words, and it hit the way that it hit. So when you called me and you asked me that, I'm like, well, this has been my perspective for a minute. I've been battling with this. I got an outlet and a platform to speak to it, and then it registered and it hit. So that's a beautiful thing, man.
We won that battle, bro. God was definitely on your side and got you up out that situation. So it could full circle reveal itself to you. You changed your mind. You was able to witness to people that was on the phone. And like I said, it hit my heart. I was like, I got to call the homie. He don't even know. He brought tears to my eyes with that story, man. You know what I mean? You literally grabbed me off the ledge. He was the first person to say, nah, come here, Alonzo. Let me do something for you right now, man. And it did it for me. It did it for me, bro. So you keep stepping. Like I said, man, you was the first, bro. So every time I see you, I'm like, bro, I can't quit. Like, I already got that I can't even have it in my spirit. I can't call DeAndre and be like, hey, man, I'm kind of cool off this, right?
You know keep going so I can say my boy Zoe is a lawyer over here.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, no, amen. It's funny you used the phrase quitting cold turkey because we were talking last night, and you know a little bit about quitting stuff cold turkey, right?
Oh, yeah, I definitely do, man.
Well, share a little bit about that.
It's crazy. Just so we just me. This is just me speaking about what it did for me, right? Like I was relying on a lot of substances, man. I was smoking a lot of weed, doing a lot of alcohol in school. Again, I'm up here by myself. I'm not really understanding what depression is, right? I didn't even know what that was a thing until I started really realizing, like, dang, that is really a thing. And that's a lot of the things that I was going through, man. And I would leave class, right? I'm doing my work, but I would leave class to go get high, just so I could get off this. I got these negative thoughts in my head, right? But not really understanding that getting high, not only would it make me think a lot more, but it's also hyping up my negativity, though. Like, you doing this wrong and you doing that wrong and you ain't gonna be this person. And I just wanted to stop smoking and stop drinking. And I was trying to figure out how I was gonna do that, man. And I prayed. I just asked God at that moment, I want to stop, man. I don't know. I don't want to use this no more. And man, when I say he told me to get up and put it away, throw it away, I did exactly what he said, right? Not to the T though. So I got up.
Not at first.
Not at first.
I was gonna say, don't make me tell, because I don't believe in that no snitching.
We know the story.
Crazy, and I don't recommend nobody do it. So honestly, man, I'm testing God, right? Like, in a sense of, like, if this is really you, and you don't want me to do this, then you gonna help me overcome this. So I'm gonna put it up though. So I put it in the cabinet, put my bong in the cabinet, put my weed in the cabinet, put my little edibles in the cabinet. And bro, when I say I walked back to the couch and he told me, I didn't. That's not what I told you to do. Throw it away. If you truly want to stop, then you can stop. Throw it away. And bro, it kind of gave me goosebumps, and I'm kind of like, what is going on? Like, you're really talking to me right now. You're really giving me something that I asked for, and it's crazy. I wish like I was somebody around me so they could kind of like I was kind of like, hold on, is this real? So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna listen to you. I picked everything up. I went outside to the trash can. Got to walk down 3 flights of stairs, right? Threw it in the trash. Man, when I say I had the biggest smile on my face the whole way coming back into the house, right? Not really realizing what's going on. And when I say he killed the desires at that moment, bro, I have never experienced nothing like that in my life. Like, I prayed that I didn't want to do it. He said, okay, well, I got you if you truly don't want to do it. And I'm around it. When I say I don't have no desire, like, I wish I could. I'm gonna pray about other desires that I got that need to go away. Because for him to just take it away like in a quick instant, bro, I wish somebody can feel and understand like how I feel in those words, bro. It's like, but God been doing a lot of talking to me anyway. But for him to kind of hop in at that moment, like right next to me and say, if you're gonna quit, then this is what you need to do. And when I say zero desires, I mean, this is no exaggeration. Like, and God is he's here. He's my witness. I have a zero desire. Like, there's hasn't been, and I'm in the Bay. There's weed all over the place. I have zero desires, bro. And I'm in the Bay. It blows my mind to be able to say that. And
we got weed in San Diego too, so you might have left, but we got weed down here still.
Man, and I smoke every day. You know what I mean? I smoked every day. And it was but it was just, I didn't realize what it was doing. I didn't realize that I would smoke weed and read my Bible, right? This is crazy. I would love doing that. I would love doing that because I'm focusing in on the word, right? But not realizing that it's the 10 Commandments. What the commandments did for me is bringing out my sin, right? But not only is it bringing it out, the devil's talking to me negatively, like, bro, you can't do any of that. Like, this ain't your life. Like, it's convicting me. I'm reading it, but it's convicting me, but it's also telling me you ain't good enough. Why are you even finna go pray? Why are you even reading this book? Like, every time I smoked weed, that would happen to me, though. To where I would put the Bible up, like, ooh, I don't even want to. I was doing good for the first 15 minutes, but as I get to dive into it, it's like all these things is telling me how good I am. I ain't good, and you need to stop trying to read the Bible. Like, that's not your life. Like, but no lie, it would happen to me all the time. So I would like time myself. I would like talk to myself, knowing that it's gonna come, but like, let me just get a little word in real quick, you know what I mean, and try to put it up. But all the negativity was still coming, right? Still coming. And then that was God basically telling me, what you think that this weed is it's gonna help you get into my word? You're not gonna hear me smoking no weed. You're not. And that's what I thought that I was doing, because I was feeling good for a moment while I was reading scripture. But then the devil will hop right on up in there and tell me how bad of a person I was. And I hated that feeling. I didn't want that no more. And I prayed about it, man. When I say he kicked it away from me that day, bro, I swear I wish I could replay that day and I could have an audience so they could really feel and understand Like what I mean about him literally like, bro, I prayed for that desire to go away and it literally went away though. And everybody know I smoked weed every day. You can come to my house, I got pot. I got weed. You want to blow? My house smell like weed. This is just my thing, bro. And to say that I don't smoke no more, it was like some people like, what? Well, that's like, bro. I just asked God to take it away, and He did it. No regrets, bro. That's just how beautiful He works. And that not only did it make me, it just drew me even more closer, bro, to be more intimate, to have better conversations with Him, but to have meaningful conversations, not to just be babbling, but like to have a meaningful conversation. He listens to that type of stuff. He understood my vices. He knows them. And I asked him, bro, and I'm telling you, bro, it blew my mind. I was smiling, bro. I was just thanking him like, wow, you are amazing. Like, that was like magical.
Amen. It's God, right?
Yeah, it's God. It's God, man. Takes your desires away that you don't want. I don't know if it's going to happen for everybody. I'm just saying, my story, he kicked the cold turkey that day. That day. Ain't went back since. Don't even care to.
Man, I'll tell you, we are absolutely 100%. We're gonna need a part two. There's no, we haven't even scratched the surface.
Amen.
Talking about, because we talked about what it was like, kind of a little bit of what happened. We talked about the catalyst. And then kind of where you are now. But what I really want to dig into, and even if we could just, as we are being considerate of the time, I would just love to, if y'all don't mind, maybe just stand a little bit longer. And those of y'all that's listening, just a little bit longer, because I think it's important to talk about the struggles of leaving. Because if I'm listening right now, I'm thinking, okay, you know what I'm saying, Alonzo, you didn't have some miracles. You came out of Black Panther, you know what I'm saying? And then DeAndre, you just came out on your grown man stuff and all y'all just this, but I'll be willing to bet that there's some identity issues. There's some I miss that. There's some draws to this. There's people are thinking about me a certain way. There's all this stuff. And that's to me, that's the mental health grind that I think some people need to just hear. What is it like when you decide, because you went against the grain 100%, born and raised in this whole thing, you being a Crip, DeAndre, all the way in, you know what I'm saying? All the way in. Zoe, you being a Brim, you all the way in, 100%. But now y'all not. And can y'all both just, like I said, being considerate of the time, just talk about some of that part of the journey for you, about the struggle mentally and making that switch. You know what I mean? If y'all don't mind.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna just go real quick, Jay, because I want to hear yours for sure. But I'm telling you, Jason, you know a little bit about, I was battling the whole entire time though. I mean, like, because you're right, the identity thing, right? I didn't know how to let that go. Like, I still wanted to be a part of. I didn't want to feel left out, because we coming into this. I want to call it a bougie, right? You consider it to be a bougie when you're in these areas, and I didn't want my homeboys to lose that same love that they have for me because I'm over here. So I would battle that. I would literally say, forget what I'm doing. I mean, when I was at City College, I would leave class to go to the set, just because it's like I ain't been in a while. I don't want them thinking I forgot about them. Like, all of these things is going through my mind, right? And it's like, school is cool, but the homies come first. And I never wanted to like let that die out. I was always feeling like I could do both, because also, and not to even throw DeAndre's name is, I seen him doing it. DeAndre was able to do it, and all his homies was like gathering around him. Like, Dre had love. So it's like I wanted that same thing too. Like, I don't want the homies to not love me no more. You know what I mean? And so it was, I mean, it was ongoing. Just because we just make it look good. That inner battle is a struggle, man. I mean, I never necessarily cried over it, but it would bring me anxiety. It was pressure. It was weight. Sometimes I didn't want to go to the set, but I went anyway, because I still wanted my face to be around. I wanted to be known. I wanted to be shown, right? I didn't want them to think that, oh, he in school now, he done forgot about us and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So like, man, my mental wasn't right. Like I was going through it. You know what I'm saying? Like I would leave from up here to go down there just for the weekend. And they like, bro, I thought you was in school. You know, I gotta come tap in with y'all. Just to let y'all know I'm still doing my thing. Though I got some support, but I also got some pull-ins too. I could just tell people didn't really want me to do what I was doing, kind of wanted me to stay because people would talk about me. I would hear, you know, oh, he a lawyer from the set, or he ain't really from the set. You know, and you know, Drake, no, you hear them words, it was like fighting words. You're like, hold on, what you mean I ain't from the set? Because I go to school, like, what's happening? And I would catch myself in minor battles with you got the people talking about you ain't from the set. And I feel like, bruh, the type of work, not like that, but the type of time I've been involved in, like, can't nobody tell me I ain't from nowhere. And I was battling with that, man. And that had weighs heavy on your mental, man. Like, you to the point where it's like, I ain't gonna lie, I almost quit school a couple times. As stupid as that sounds, as stupid as that might sound. Shout out to Drake, DeAndre Cooper, my boy Drake 9. I'm talking about when I say I done been in tears over time, and the homie was like, bro, ain't no way I'm gonna let you quit. It was to the point where the homie came up here to stay with me a few times, just so I could have somebody up here. Like, that's how much love my homeboy got from me. He would stay up here for a week or two. Like, bro, I'm on my way. You sound like you need some company, bro. Forget all of that, what they talking about. I'm on my way. So that mental, bro, if it wasn't for the support, some of the support that I had, the constant looking at Dre and some of my partners from my neighborhood, man, I lost that battle. If I didn't have the support, yeah, so I don't want people thinking that this is just all gung-ho, because it definitely ain't. Dre just talked me off the ledge. What was that, a couple weeks ago? When I talked to you? Yeah, that was only a couple weeks ago that I finally flipped that mentality. I've been having that this whole way up here. This still to this, up until this time, up until I talked to DeAndre that day is when I literally just kicked that cold turkey after talking to DeAndre. But for those that's watching, yeah, if you don't got support and you was in it like me and a homie was in it, you're gonna lose that battle trying to do it on your own. And I don't know how DeAndre did it, but I know for me, it was the support, the constant you can do it, the constant what you talking about, because I was getting tested. It's crazy. I probably got more. I got tested more in this situation than I did when I was really hanging out. That's the crazy part. Like, my name was more in the streets negatively. Like, I'm some type of, I don't want to use the word, but you know, like, I ain't nobody because I went to school. Like, I got talked about more, and that right there didn't sit right with me. So right. I would, you know, who you talking to? Who you think you talking about? Type of attitude. You know what I mean? And I know that's not me as a person though. But I felt like I needed to defend myself as a man and show up like that. Like, hold on, who y'all think y'all talking to or talking about? You know what I'm saying? So, and that's a Dre knows certain words. When a person say you ain't from the set, bruh, what? I'm flying down there on my way. I don't care who all at the park. We can go do whatever y'all want to talk about because I'm still here. But that's part of that mentality that you got to show up when somebody talking about you. You can't leave because you don't want to leave as a name as being a buster or whatever type of terms we used in at that time. Now, thank God I don't care about it. But like, I'm talking about from community college to going to school to just all of that, man. All of that was a battle for years. And I just overcame that this year. Literally, though. Amen. Literally just overcame that thought mind process this year after talking to DeAndre that day. That's why I cried. It was tears of joy, but also thanking God that I had a brother in my life that was able to share that because when I called DeAndre, I told him I needed that, bro. He probably don't even understand how much I needed that. Like those words, the exact way, everything the way. And I hate that, I hate that how it happened to you, bro, and your homie, because I could just imagine what you had to go through in that time. But I'm telling you, God works in crazy ways because, bro, I needed to hear that word for word. Because if not, that could have been possibly me in the next few years, bro. Because I was still hanging out and not really tripping, still holding on to stuff that I had no business holding on to. So yeah, man, my mental health was tore up. But mentally, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't do it. Jason, you know, I used to dang near cry with you on the phone. You just didn't know it. You used to talk to me and talk life into me, man, all the time. You always checked in on me. Even if we didn't talk every day, it was the check-in. I'm in tears on the end, kind of going down like, bro, I'm ready to quit this. And Jason's speaking life into me. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what you do, even if it's not a lawyer, even if it's not this, it don't matter. God got a plan for you. So whatever that you think that you ain't or what you should be, let all that go. Just be. Just live, just walk, just be Alonzo. And the more and more you become Alonzo, the more and more you'll see yourself. And I started to do that. I just started to let go of the old me and just wake up in the morning thanking God with breath, air in my lungs, man, and just be me. And like I said, that only happened this year, literally.
Yeah.
And I've been in school quite some time now. So that battle never ended until now. And I know still more that I'm going to have to go through. But as far as that goes, thank God for you brothers, because I'm done with that now. And I'm cool and fine with saying that.
Amen.
Amen.
Man, how about you, DeAndre?
Yeah. Coming home, I guess one of the first things that I could think of based off that question, right? When I was at San Diego Community College and I was just about to get my associate's degree and transfer on over. Had just successfully completed parole, no violations, no any of that sort of stuff, right? And I was trying to get a job. And so, I was upfront about my background and that I had been in prison for 10 years since I was 17. It was at a group home. They were like, no problem. We need you. We're going to write that off. But the great state of California stepped in and like, no, we don't care who he is, what he's done, or as far as going to school and how long he's been out, we're not giving him that job. So I was struggling trying to find a job at that time. And I was like, well, am I doing all this for nothing? Is this school stuff in vain? I'm like, I've got off of parole. I'm trying to do the right thing and stuff. And I'm like, I can't even get a job anywhere, right? So I was battling that for a long time, just like, you know what, stay the course, stay down, something's going to end up happening. And shout out Layla Aziz, she used to be in the community center when I was younger. I think I was mentoring a youth for about a year just on the strength. And I went to a community event and asked them like, hey, do you want to go? It's a culinary arts graduation. They got food. I took him to go eat and support the folks at the event. And I seen Layla. She's like, you're still seeing this kid a year later, not getting paid? Do you know how fast mentors fall off? What are you doing? I explained the situation and the rest is history. She turned me on to a case manager job in the nonprofit world, and I've been there ever since. So that was a battle at first to where I was like, do I stay down? Do I continue to do this and wait it all the way out? Or do I just go right back on that downward spiral that most folks do? And so like even getting in there and finally.
Whoa.
We lost
He's still on. He's still on. If phone ain't dead, his name would have popped off.
Yeah.
There he is.
He's hanging out. He's in pictures with these individuals. He's at the park, bro. You know what I mean? He's at a party, and I was really going around my community and my friends just to show them that you can do something different, and it's more than life than just this. And we can come from this type of background, you know what I mean, and touch every aspect of life, right, and every platform. So I was that was my mentality and mindset, but folks didn't understand that as I'm in the professional world and I'm bouncing back and forth. Even if you're not participating in any gang activity, genocide, or anything like that, I'm just like, man, I needed somebody to be here that I can see that can still represent this community and do positive things. So I always wanted to be that. But it was a whole battle in the professional world for us. Like, is he really this? Is he really that? And then I have folks like Alonzo said, like, oh, what talking is he on? Is he a homie still, or he over here? Is he square? He doing this over there? So I'm battling on both fronts. You know what I mean? Trying to, make my way in the professional realm, and then even just still stay who I am in my community. And so, like, everything finally came to a head, on both ends. I'm like, I am who I am. I don't care, because you can imagine that being a full-fledged gang member. Out now, you're going to school, and now you're in all these professional spaces with these people that never have been through a lot of the stuff that I've gone through, right? Or the folks that they have come across have always just been in that lifestyle or plan. And so like they would get at me like that, and it took a while. So that was a huge battle, just finding gainful employment, being there. But I was able to work through all of that just by staying down and staying the course. God always ends up coming through like a champ, every single time. And just strengthening my faith in that, right? And then even lately, just over the last few months, my walk with God has gotten stronger and stronger, just being in church every Sunday regularly and doing things, right? And then attacks start coming, stuff from years ago, stories getting twisted, all kind of different things like that, right? And you have to deal with that when you are on your path and you are on your way to really, locking all the way in with God. So it's just a process of understanding and being thankful for His grace. Really, at the end of the day.
And don't get me wrong, it ain't nothing wrong with hanging out with your homeboys because they need saving, they need love, right? Like I also want to like throw that out there. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with hanging out. It's just how you hang out, right?
Exactly.
With time and place, and it's how a person should be hanging out. At least I know the way me and DeAndre conduct ourselves is a little bit different. And it's okay, but it's just the mind frame mentality about hanging out and what you're doing with hanging out needs to change.
And so, not to piggyback off of that real quick, right? People will be surprised how many inboxes that I get, how many text messages I get from individuals in that lifestyle with the keep going. I see you. I don't got it to be able to jump out there. They won't publicly say anything, but they all are rooting and like, man, I didn't think it could be done. I see you. I don't have it to jump out there and speak to you publicly or acknowledge that, but I want to tell you that you're doing something for me. So I get those text messages and
that's beautiful
private messages like just like you, Zoe, all the time where people are like, keep going, I'm proud of you, I got you, but they just haven't got to that point where they're ready to step off from amongst the crowd themselves and say like, hey, but that's the example and the beacon of light that we try to be. So it's all right to be able to tap in every now and again and say, hey, because they're looking like, man, that's my homeboy right there, he's a lawyer. Or like, I'll give you one quick story real quick, man. It touched my heart, right? I got one of my homeboys from my neighborhood that I grew up with, and he is a janitor at San Diego State. So he was walking through a hallway one day, and I was in the first cohort of Project Rebound. It's a student organization for formerly incarcerated students at all CSUs. I was at San Diego State. I'm one of the first individuals to graduate, out of that cohort there, and I guess my picture is in one of those buildings. So he hit me. He like, bro, my homeboy is on the wall at San Diego State in this building. I'm pushing the broom as a janitor. Like, we in the building. We could do this. And it just uplifted his self-esteem and everything and stuff, and let him know that if you there, I know that I have that potential and I'm there. So when he hit me with that phone call, that really resonated and it stuck with me. And that's why it's important to stay tapped in. But you just have to move and do it certain type of ways. That way that, you don't get caught in the crossfire or you don't get all the way up, but you want to be able to, you want to be able to represent that. So I just wanted to share that because that definitely touched me. That he was just proud to be able, like, man, I'm at work right here, walking around with my head down, like, okay, I'm just doing my job. And I look up and my partner is on the wall up there. Right. Man, I'm from over there too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm from over there too. So it's just stuff like that comes into play.
Yeah.
Amen. Let me do this. Jason mentioned it earlier, and it's obvious the more we talk to you guys that we need to talk to you guys more. But we're not going to do the rest of it tonight, right? It's been a long day and a long night. But we definitely want to have you guys come back because there's so much of what you guys have to share that so many people are paying attention to, right? There are people watching this now and will watch it later because they know the two of you are on. And they know your story and they want to hear you tell it. And so what we really appreciate about this platform is it gives us a space to let people come and share their own individual stories in a way that most people don't get, right? A lot of folks are going to have to spend a lot of time before they get 90 minutes with DeAndre and Zoe together, right? That's unlikely to happen. But through this medium, we're able to do that. And we recognized 20 minutes ago that it wasn't enough time. And so we're definitely going to have the two of you back because we want people to get a better understanding, not just of the success that you have. And the two of you, what's so nice about listening to your stories is you're both humble about your success, right? You're both really transparent about the struggle and the pain and humble about the success. But people need to understand part of what you were just saying at the end, DeAndre, how important it is for folks not to completely disconnect from that. Eyes are on you in a positive way. People are looking for you. And just like Zoe said about DeAndre, I thought DeAndre would do it, so I knew I could do it. Folks are looking at the two of you saying, I see the two of them, so now I think I can do it, or now I know I can do it, or I just got released from Donovan or Corcoran or wherever it was. And now that I'm back here, I was trying to figure out, man, is there a word for me in all this and whether I can do this? And this podcast can be a medium, can be part of that word. So I want to thank both of you for being on tonight. I want to thank you in advance for the next time you're going to be on, because we're going to send another invite your way. We're going to expect you guys to do exactly what you've done tonight. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in on Facebook Live to not only watch, and I know people have watched and shared the videos on their own pages, and I encourage people to do that, but also the people that took time just to put some really quick comments down. So whether it's Aviva or whether it's Jim Fox or whether it's anybody else that's logged on, Ricky, anybody that's shared a comment with us, we appreciate that, because we know that we do this on behalf of a higher power. And we do this for an audience that we think has been hungry and thirsty for what this podcast feeds them. So we thank everybody that's been a part of this. For those of you that are on Facebook but have friends that are not on Facebook, later tonight, we'll upload this entire podcast to both YouTube and Spotify, because I know everybody's got access to one of those two mediums. So feel free to direct people to that. Our previous 5 podcasts, and it's hard to believe now we're on episode 6, but our previous 5 podcasts are already uploaded to Spotify and YouTube. So if you want to go back and see any of the interviews we've done previously, feel free to do that. And so I thank you, Alonzo, for being here. I thank you, DeAndre, for being here. I thank you, Jason, for doing what you always do, which is to be the inspiration to all these lives that we're trying to touch. And with that, as I told people at the beginning, I want to end all of our episodes with prayer. So, Jason, if you could take us out in prayer.
Absolutely. And just before I do, I just want to express from the bottom of my heart, man. And both of y'all know me, man. We've been rocking together for a minute. I just want you both to know how much I love you both, man. I love you, DeAndre. I love you, Alonzo. I'm really, really proud of you two men, man. I really am. And I'm very grateful for the change that you've made. I'm grateful for the intervention that God has made. I'm glad that you listened and you had courage. And I don't think sometimes we know how big of an impact we have in people's lives. And I believe that there are there are probably hundreds of people whose lives you've already affected that you may not even know. And the crazy thing is, you guys ain't doing it for that. You're doing it because it's what's right. And I just want y'all to know, man, I'm super proud of you. And I just wanted to say that, man, and shout out to your homeboys that have lost their lives and to their families over the stuff that you two are taking those experiences and not letting your homeboys. Like when you say on the dead homies, it's I got a master's degree. On the dead homies, I'm about to graduate from Berkeley, right? that right there, that's a different type of OG right there. Alonzo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I just want to say I love you both, man, a lot. And I'm very, very proud of you, man. And so if y'all don't mind, as I always say, I'm a Christian. I don't expect anybody to pray, but if you can, I just feel like it's appropriate for me to be able to do that, to acknowledge my God and what he's doing in the lives of those that I love. And so, Dad, I just want to say thank you. I'm just so grateful for this time. This has been, wow. This has been one of the best 90 minutes I've spent in a long time. I'm so grateful for these two men right here, for what you've done in their lives. I'm so grateful. And I thank you for showing up the way that you have. Everyone's experience with you is going to play out in a different way. And I'm just grateful that you're personal that way. I'm grateful for that. I thank you for Mike, for his experience, his love, for his pushing me to in faith to do this first podcast that we're on number 6, and for the humility that he displays. When we sit here talking about humility, the humility that he displays. And I pray that these men's stories, that this platform, that the idea that you gave to Mike, pray that it would touch hundreds of lives. The scripture is very clear. The one who plants the seeds and the one who waters are both the same in value. We don't have to fight over who's going to do what. It don't matter. It's the same value. But you said it's you. Scripture says you're the one that gives the increase. And so we want to trust you. for the increase. Thank you to everyone that chose to tune in today. And I pray that their questions would be answered, that seeds would be planted and watered. And again, just thank you for this space. Thank you for technology that we get a chance to do this. And we just pray that you would just be glorified. And in those times where we don't know what to say, we know that we have somebody praying for us, your will. So we ask for your will in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Amen. Let me say one thing before I end the night. I reached out to our guests from episode 3, Nate and Ojere, who have, so you were talking about you like the tangible, right? You like to be able to show up. So first Tuesday of every month, so that's next Tuesday, March 4th, at Malcolm X Library at 6:30. 2 of the brothers that were on episode 3, Nate and Ojere, both counselors and therapists, are going to have a meetup on Black mental health called Nurturing Brotherhood. It'll be at Malcolm X Library. If y'all don't know, the address is 5148 Market Street. But if you're in San Diego and you don't know what Malcolm X Library is, you need to talk. You might have to really pull up. There you go. But pull up. So we probably won't be broadcasting next week because we want to make sure we're not trying to interfere with what they're doing. We want to encourage people to have that meetup experience. Jason and I were both there on the 4th of February, and it was incredible. They had gone from 18 to 20 brothers to 40 brothers the night we were there. I think we can do better next week. So if you know somebody in the San Diego area that you think would benefit from just sitting in a room with some brothers and talking about what it's like to be a Black man in America in 2025, then let them know. Next Tuesday, March 4th, 6:30 to 7:45, because we got to be out of the library so they can close the doors by 8 o'clock. You can stay in the parking lot and talk, but you can't stay inside the library. We'll be there for an hour and 15 minutes, and we get it in. So it's a great, safe space, like the space we try to provide tonight. Jason, I'll turn it back to you. Any last words for the group?
I want to shout out Alonzo's Bible study, since he talked about these miracles. We spend every Wednesday night at 6:30 talking about the one who creates the miracles. And so I want to invite y'all to do that if you guys can. He's tagged in this post. Feel free to send him a DM. We do it by email. So we want you to, he'll send you an email before the night happens. It's a real genuine night. That's the night that DeAndre told the story. So we all got to hear it, and none of us received it the way he did. It was a miracle, but it's a trip. So come on, man, and you just never know what's going to happen when you show up to Alonzo's Bible study. And we got people from all over the place, man. They from the Bay. There's people from all over that's up in there, man. And one sister, Ingrid, said, man, it's the most uplifting Bible study she's ever been to. So tomorrow, so we do our podcast on Tuesday. Alonzo does his Bible study on Wednesday, and we just be, and then and you'll get conversation all during the week. If you want to get in this text group, we be challenging each other. It's going down in this group. So tomorrow night, 6:30, hit up Alonzo if you want to go. You can also send a message on this page here if you want, and I'll make sure you get connected to Alonzo. So much going on. No reason for you not to be connected. Again, we won't be on next week, but follow us tune in the following week. And we're looking forward to it. So again, thank you to everybody that joined tonight. April, my brother Tom, Nina, thank you for that. Drew, Yvette Porter Moore, super grateful for you. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. James Fox, we see you. Soveda, Rising Butterfly, the one and only Jasmine Latrice, we see you. Shelly Leva, we see you. Brian Anthony, Chaz, really, Miranda, thank you all for coming. We love y'all. See you again.
Peace.